Welcome back, my friends. In the last lecture, we installed Laravel. Now in this lecture, we will create an admin user. That means this is the main user that we use to access our backend, our Filament backend that we will also install in this lecture. So let's go to the editor. So in the editor, there is this folder with the name database. We open that one. Then there's the subfolder named seeders. And here we have the file we need, which is database seeder. And here in gray, you can see commented out already something that we will use. This paragraph we will use and adapt it. So let's remove all these comments here, right? Okay. And they are gone. Okay. So here we have the user model. It's called model. This most important file for Laravel is called model. So this is the user model. And we will use this model to create one user. So here, please put your name. I will put my name. Right? Here, please put your email address, or you can also leave some example address. It doesn't matter, but I'm gonna put my email address here. All right, and then we need a password. So let's go to the next line. And here you see that I had some auto-completion here. And this auto-completion here comes from GitHub. This is GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot always makes suggestions. I don't know if I will keep this switched on. You can see here on the right, it says GitHub Copilot, okay? This will always give me some suggestions from GitHub that is completed with artificial intelligence. But let's see if I will keep it switched on. But in this case, I will use exactly this line, which says password and then bcrypt. Bcrypt means that the password that is written in the database is hashed. So please use the same line here and put your personal password here that you can always remember. Okay, I will just use the same password that I have for my local database here. And then that's it. Let's save this file and let's go to the terminal. But there's also another way to use terminal functionality. And I have here in my PHP storm, I have a little terminal down here. I can use also this one. And I'm gonna use this one. So I'm gonna say PHP artisan migrate. We did that already before, but this time I say fresh. This means that our database will be rewritten completely new. And then I say ---- seed, which will run this file database seeder. Let's execute this. All right, seeding database, it says. Now, let's go to our database and let's see if we have that user. So here in my users database table, I see now that there is one user. If I click on browse to see the user, I can see my name, my email address, and I can see the password, but this password is encrypted or it is hashed, you also can say. Okay. Now let's install Filament. So let's go again to the page filamentphp.com. Actually, I have bookmarked this page with some other pages that I need all the time. For example, also the Laravel documentation, and here is the filament documentation. Because if you're gonna work with this tool, you will need the documentation all the time. And that is also the reason why I teach you how to use the documentation, because it's an important skill. Right, let's go to documentation here. This documentation is a very big documentation, very big. You have here the main navigation items where it says admin panel, form builder, and so on. And we are going to work in the admin panel for now. But later in the course, I will show you also elements of the form builder and of the table builder. Here, down here, you have a search bar, and you can start the search also with Command K, like this. And then later, when you are more advanced in Filament, you always do Command K, and then you look for what you need here, and then you know your stuff quickly. Okay, so but let's stay here in this page, in the first page where it says installation. All right, let's scroll down a little bit, and here it says installation. So here it says Composer require, and then filament, and it says 2.0. I don't do it like this. I just say filament/filament. So let's copy this until here. Copy. And let's go to the terminal. Right. So here I paste that in and let it run. Okay, now filament is installed. Yes. Okay. Now let's go back to the installation page. Those two things you don't need, especially you don't need this filament user here, because we have already our admin user. Let's scroll down a little more. And here comes something that is important, and that is the configuration. You really need this. So let's copy this line here and also run this in our terminal, because this will publish a configuration file. You can see already it was published to config filament PHP, and we have to do some settings in this file. But before we leave this part here, let's also publish the translations, because Filament comes in a lot of languages. So maybe you are not native English speaker, maybe you have Spanish, Arabic, or something else as your native mother language, and then you can use your mother language in Filament, okay? So let's just quickly do this. It's not much work. So I go here and paste again this line with the translations, and then we have in the folder Lang Vendor Filament, we have our translations. Okay, now let's go to our project. So here in the browser, behind the starting URL, you just put /admin here, okay? That's all you have to do. And then you come to the admin login, okay? Let's just change this Laravel up here very quickly. Let's go to the editor. And here we open up this .env file that we know from the database settings before. And here in line number 1, instead of Laravel, we just put in double quotes. We put the app name Filament Course. Okay? Just as a small improvement. Okay? So if we reload, we have Filament Course here, and now here for the email address and the password, you use the same stuff that we put in our database seeder here. So I'm gonna copy my email address put it in here. All right, and I'll put my password here. Let's sign in. And here is our dashboard. Yes, as you can see, there's nothing in the navigation and it's completely empty, but it's something, right? Here you have the little icon with the first letter of your name. Here you can log out if you want, okay? But we will see this later again. There's a lot of things that we can do here as well. But anyway, now that we are logged in, we're gonna change some settings. Let's go to the editor and let's open up in the folder config. Here you have this filament PHP, right? Let's open that. These are the important settings for filament. All right. For example, here in line 28, you can change that path from admin to something else, but we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna show you only the most important things, right? So let's go to line number 172. Here the dark mode we will set to true. All right. Let's go down a little bit further. And we will say that in the layout we have footer should show logo. We can set this to false here in line 239. All right. And then comes something important. Here in line 247 is collapsible on desktop. We put this to true. So we have more space if we need. I will show you in a second. Okay. And then here in line 251 where it says width, we remove this null here and then we put single quotes like this. And in the single quotes we put full. This full is a class. It's a class name that expands our tables later to the full width. Okay. If you want, you can change also the favicon. For example, here you can put the name of your favicon file that is directly in your public folder. If you want to put the favicon into your public folder here, then you can put the name of your favicon, okay? So I just gonna write here, favicon png or favicon.icon, and you can put your icon here if you want. All right, but let's stop with this now for the moment and let's reload our admin dashboard. Okay, here you see already it collapsed, okay, here on the left. So we have more space actually here. You can uncollapse it like this. Okay, but here where you have the first letter of your name, you have this toggle dark mode. All right, and this is the dark mode. So if you want to work at night in bed and you don't want to disturb other people, you can use the dark mode. All right. In the next lecture, we will create another database table for our orders. And then we will create a filament resource, it's called. And we will show the orders from our e-commerce project. See you there.